I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Vita and Chick and Culpy.
Just had a really good time with the Patreon crew. We did the first ever group review.
Yep.
That's gonna get published pretty soon. Might be published today.
Might be.
It's a bonus video. So that's getting published. Today is a terrible anniversary in the day of metal. This is the day that the big homie Dimebag Darrell was killed. December 8th, 2004.
Yeah.
I remember I was listening I was on the computer listening to music and it came across the radio. And
really?
Yeah, I wasn't a Pantera fan at all, but I just remember being completely I couldn't believe it, and so I immediately hit Google. And I was messed up for a couple days. I don't like stuff like that. People being cut down like that, things like that. It really affected me. It was tough. And then of course I actually only really got introduced to Pantera through the actual channel. And then once
that's wild that it affected you like that, and then you weren't even really into them. It's not like it was like Jonathan Davis. You were so into Korn that you could see
Jonathan Davis had to put me on Suicide Watch, but I don't know. I think it was. You know, like when Aaliyah died in a plane crash, you don't know who she is. I don't know, when these stars die and they die young.
Is that the one that died while we were doing the channel?
No.
Oh.
No. Who died while we were doing the channel?
There was I don't know what her name was. There was a girl, and like, she was some rock star or something. I don't know. And people were saying so and so.
Oh no. Aaliyah was a very big pop star and stuff. And when I was listening to hip hop. You know, but I wasn't really into her because she was a singer and I was into rap. But anyway, she died. I just felt terrible. And then when I read the actual story, it was worse because I'm like, oh my God, his brother saw that whole thing go down.
That's terrible.
How do you know? I don't know. I could never.
Oh my! I can't even imagine.
Yeah, but then we got actually introduced to Pantera and all that, and every time I listen to Pantera, you know. I think it was Cemetery Gates and a couple when I was really down. I was down for a couple days actually after listening to Cemetery Gates, just thinking about the fact that this guy's dead. That was actually before Vinny died. And then when Vinny died, I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy these guys who they were. Every time I listen to a Pantera song, I love it, but then there's always that
sadness.
You know, sadness considering, you know. But at the same time, it's like, look, they were here. They were obviously gifted, and so I'm just going to enjoy them for who they were. But, you know, this is a new level by Pantera from the Vulgar Display of Power record, and we're just going to listen to it and enjoy it, appreciate it for what it is. Rest in peace to the big homie.
And go.
thing about Pantera?
What?
So you scroll up and it's this dude just boom.
Punching the dude right in the face.
Put it right in the jaw. Put 5 on the jaw. Clap.
Yep.
But this is there was this song and then there was the other song that was about empowerment. It was like, I'm not gonna let you keep me down. It was about empowerment. It was more, it was more. It wasn't just about, like, I don't think that fist in the guy's face, it looks like that, but I think that guy is supposed to personify like obstacles in your way and things like that. You're smashing through obstacles. I don't think it's necessarily about
hitting a person.
Actually hitting the person, right. What was it? The mouth for war. That was, use your mouth for war, blah, blah, blah. And it was about using your voice to empower yourself. So it's talking about a new level of confidence, a new level of power, because in the first verse you got shit on, pissed on, spit on, stepped on, fucked with, pointed at by lesser men. Why are you laughing?
Pointed at by lesser men. Who determines that? You?
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that is how you act, yeah.
With anybody that, like, if it's like a legitimate, like, if it's at work or if it's me and you or it's the kids or something like that, and I see that it's legitimate, I'm like, okay. But if it's just a hater, I'm like, are you serious? You? To me? Are you crazy? It's just, it's strange to me that you would even say that to me. You're not like that, though.
No, I think I used to be more like that, but I'm less like that now.
You see, if you're like that with people when they hate on you, and you act as if the hater is like beneath you, they get mad at you.
Yeah.
They go, oh, that's arrogant. So what am I supposed to do? Take your hatred to heart? Am I supposed to ingest your hatred?
No.
These weird, like, social
I know, it is weird.
It's
like,
have.
Oh, yeah, what else?
It's like, I want you to let me insult you. How come you won't let me insult you? And someone's like, you're beneath me. And it's true. If a person's attacking you for no reason, that means they're a small person.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's by definition, if a person's hateful and vengeful and jealous and just bitter about, their life choices or the way that life worked out for them and they're coming after you, they're by definition a lesser person.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's something swimming around in your head.
Well, yeah, because these things happen, you know what I mean? And that's how you always react, and like looking at it as like they're lesser for coming at you and stuff like that. But I just don't know that everybody can do that. But I don't know. I see what you're saying. I see that there's an ultimatum basically. Like either that you let that work and then they're good with it, but if you don't, then they're gonna come at you. Yeah, I used to be more like that. I don't know.
I just think like societies have structures of keeping people in line and keeping people, whatever. And the accusation of arrogance is one of the ways that society keeps people in line. Yeah. Because who's defining that?
Yeah, I used to hear all the time, I was arrogant and rebellious.
Yeah, I think a person knowing who they are and not allowing another person to detract them from who they are as a person is not arrogant. And for me, arrogance is, look, if you recognize that you have certain gifts or that you're at a certain place in life, you have to recognize that it came from God and not from you.
Right.
I know that. And it's the fact that God gave that to me is the reason I'm not going to let you take it from me.
Right.
So it's not arrogant to say, no, that's beneath me and I'm not going to accept that or receive that. You go live in your miserable world. So
I think that's healthy. I think we should all be like that, but
yeah, I mean, I know that I'm nothing without God, and that's not an arrogant thing to say. I mean, I believe that's the honest truth. But with God, I'm something. So I'm not going to let anything you have to say take from me. Like, who are you?
Yep.
It's just weird to me. But, it's like that show we were watching with the, what is it, Hotter and 100% Hotter or some craziness like that?
Yeah.
Like, we need to get that girl some Pantera.
Right.
You show up there and everybody, like, rates you, like judges you on your appearance. I think anybody in our audience who would watch that show would be like, oh my God, that's so crazy. But at the same time, they allow themselves to be judged by society all the time. So in that show, it's this really extreme form where they literally take a picture of the girl and then walk around the city and say, what do you think of her? Rate her 1 to 10. And then they come back and say, all these people rated you a two, and it's supposed to be some big wake up call to. It's like a dousing of cold water to get you to
motivate to make
motivate
some changes
you. So that, and so I think.
But don't you think that we're all kind of, not we're all, but like lots of people are like that in the sense of, you know, people post pictures to Instagram or Facebook and stuff like that, and they're looking for a certain amount of likes and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think if your ultimate value measurement comes from other people, then you are going to be completely controlled by those people. Whether it's a culture or a subculture or anything in your given society or whatever you want to talk, however you want to frame it, if your value comes from other people's opinion of you, and you feel high when they say high things to you and low when they don't, then I think you're in trouble and you're easily controlled.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I think it's natural for human beings to think this way, which is why songs like this exist in the first place. But I think what these guys are trying to communicate when you see that punch and the vulgar display of power and things like that, it's like you have to find ways to like gather up that strength to fight against that, because you're always against the tide, because cultures work in such a way as we're always gonna default to control. And this is the bad side of hierarchy, even though I believe that hierarchy is natural. The bad side of it is the defaults to control mechanisms. And you have to actively fight against it. And so when you see that fist, I think what Pantera is trying to say is like, look, if you don't do that, you're going to conform. And you'll never find yourself. And so I think that's a really, really important message. New life in place of old life, unscarred by trials. Now a look in my eyes, my spirits rise. Forget the past, present tense works and lasts. He says, forget about the past, and his spirit is rising. Like this song is like all about empowerment and being able to get to a new level. Yeah,
because there's a lot of people that like they're messed up today because they're so busy living in yesterday.
Yeah.
So much happened in the past and you can't change that. And so sometimes like you go back and you redo something in your head, like, oh, I would do it differently. Oh, I would do this differently. Oh, I would do that. And then like you're not living in the present moment when you're going back there all the time.
Yeah.
And then that changes you and it makes you a bitter and angry, a controlled person because you can't live in the freedom of today.
Yeah, and it makes you a small person. And the other thing is when people allow themselves to be controlled, they resent like crazy people who will not be controlled. They resent those people with a passion. And then they think and they're afraid of them. They think they're dangerous. They're like, well, how come you don't care what we think?
Yeah.
And if the person doesn't care what we think by our societal pressure, then how are we going to get them to do what we want them to do?
Yeah.
This one is interesting though, because in verse 2, so it's a new level, confidence, power, boom, and then it says, demanding plea for unity between us all, united stand, death before divided fall in mock military order, vulgar power impatient because time is shorter. That is important. Because what he's saying is, look, I'm not saying fuck all society and I don't care what you guys think. What he's saying is, I'm not going to let you guys define me, but we still need to have unity.
We still need to work together. And
he's probably talking about his band and like the people around him. But you know, like we're watching a show right now where it's like this post-apocalyptic world and people have to come together and work together. And it's one of the things that I think that human beings have yet to figure out is how to relate to each other by persuasion and not by control. So here's what I mean by that. You need a street built or you need a school built. And so now you excise taxes from people. You get taxes. Well, if you don't pay taxes, governments can come in and put you in jail. Well, if you resist arrest, they can kill you.
Right.
Eric Garner. But so there's essentially control mechanisms in place because we need that school built. So we're basically building the school and the streets at gunpoint. It's basically what the tax system is. Everything is on gunpoint.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I get it. I understand why. Because most people, the way it stands right now, if you gave them the chance of saying, okay, build that school, that road, or keep the money yourself, they're going to say, if I keep my money and I only have to pay 5, the other guy has to pay 10. So if I can get the other guy to pay 10 and still have the road, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and you know how you know that? I heard you having that conversation with the person the other day about the medical care.
Yeah.
And they were saying, like, I don't want to pay for medical care for everybody. Like, I don't want my taxes to go for that.
Right.
Like, fuck them, you know?
Right.
If you don't even want to put money forward for, like,
Life
the
and death.
saving of lives.
Right.
You certainly are not going to care about somebody's road.
Right. So we have to operate by control mechanisms. And, like, it would be crazy if we could have a situation where we could operate by persuasion. We could persuade people to do things without putting them at gunpoint.
Right.
So this song is a good balance because on one hand it's saying, look, I'm not gonna conform. I'm not gonna get stepped on by, fucked with, and pointed at by lesser people. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But he's pleading for unity. You know, because we have to. You can't do it by yourself. You got to have people to work with, and you got to work with people. And, you know, it's one of the concepts of the village is that we're helping each other to figure out what the hell is going on in the world around us. And so I think that that's a really, really good balance. Just because you're saying, I'm not going to let you define me. And this is like probably one of the biggest misunderstandings about me. It's not, just because I'm saying I'm not going to let you define me doesn't mean I don't think we should work together. We should work together. We have to.
Right.
It's just we have to now operate under different rules.
Yeah.
So you're not going to control me. I'm not going to control you, but let's persuade each other about where we need to go and what needs to happen. If you could,
It's hard though because you're somebody who can persuade people. Like, you know how to persuade people. Like, I don't know how to persuade people. Like, if I did, I wouldn't have half the issues I have with the kids. You know what I mean?
well, I think, but if you come from a perspective of control, I'm not saying you, I'm saying the general you. If a person comes from the perspective of control, then the only mechanisms of influence that they know is control. But if you're outside of that world, then you have to use persuasion and pleading with people. So because everybody's so used to control mechanisms all the time, that's what they default to.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to kind of free yourself first, and then you start to operate outside of that type of controlling environment. So I thought verse 2 was like legit important. No fucking surrender, can't lose. A new level of confidence and power. This is good stuff.
Then what was the last thing? Life what?
Life kills is the last word in the outro.
Life kills? What do you think that means?
Well, because there's a lot of triumphalism. Can't lose, unscarred by trials. So I think that's there to just balance out, look, life is difficult.
Yeah.
So just because I'm saying this stuff doesn't mean you're just going to have a walk in the park. So Phil is if you really know what he's doing, he's an extremely intelligent writer. And the way that he does the verses, like especially the way he did this one, shit on, pissed on, spit on, stepped on, fuck with.
Yeah, that sounded so familiar.
That was in '92. The riffs on this song have been copied so many times
Does
after this.
OTEP have a song where she like yells out like that?
I don't know. I don't think so. We've only listened to 2 OTEP songs, so. But this song is, like, the riffs on this song are crazy, very, very heavy, typical Dime. It was cool because the video that you chose would just feature Dime. Did you do that on purpose, or did you just...
No, it was HD and lyrics on screen. So
Yeah, and it just featured Dime, so there you are.
just so happened.
You gotta use that as the thumbnail thing. What do you give the song? Come off the war.
Probably like an 8.9.
This is a 9.5 for me. I like Mouth for War better than this song. Mouth for War, I'm pretty sure I gave it 10. But this is a close second, 9.5. I really, really like the song. I like the message. I think the message is important.
Yeah.
If people can really grasp it, I think that the message is important.
Yeah.
9.5. Rest in peace to the big homie, Dimebag Darrell with his brother, Vinny Paul. Up there, inshallah. We'll see you soon, buddy. All right, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.